All right, so my name is Michael DeLu, and today is Monday, January 16th, 2023. And this is episode 114. Throw your phones up, 114 to pull up the tape. My name is Michael DeLu. I'm going to politic about Super Wildcard weekend. And I'm out, and man, I'm really excited because, as I said last week, playoff football's fucking here. Let's go. So that's really exciting to me, and I fucking love that shit. And I also love that my Duval Jaguars got a win on Saturday, and Trevor Lawrence, as of right now, is still undefeated on Saturday. With that being said, I'm gonna just get into chronological order. All the games that took place yesterday on Sunday, which was the main course of Super Wildcard Weekend. Obviously, tonight we have the Monday night matchup between the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. And then on Saturday, we had the San Francisco 49ers stomp on the fucking Seahawks, and my Duval Jaguars take care of business. All right, so with that being said, I gotta start off in Orchard Park, and the Buffalo Bills beat the Miami Dolphins 34-31. And I always like to put things into context. I always have to put it in, because I feel like nowadays, especially in the playoffs, context is more important than the scores, the stats, and different things like that, because, in the grand scheme of things, it just looks like a tightly contested game that in the divisional round that, the Bills just happened to win. But nah. The Bills were favored significantly to smash the Dolphins and literally almost lost this game. I mean, this isn't like I'm not about giving the hottest takes or whatever the case may be. I'm just about telling the truth, okay? I tell the truth. All right? I tell the truth. I emphasize, I tell the truth. If the Buffalo Bills play the same way they played today, or the same way they played on Sunday next week against the Bengals, they're going to lose. If the Buffalo Bills played the same way they played yesterday, if Tua was playing, they would have lost. If Teddy Bridgewater was playing, they would have lost. So the Bills on offense, and I can't even say offense, it literally falls on Josh Allen. We're just sloppy as fuck. Just so sloppy. So sloppy. They gave up 7 sacks. Josh Allen turned the ball over 3 times. He had 2 picks and a fumble, and the fumble was returned for a touchdown. And they were just, I can't continue. I have to continue to emphasize, they were lucky to win this game. The Bills were lucky to win this game. At one point, they were up 17-0. At one point, the Bills were up 17-0. 17-0. Like, you shouldn't be blowing. I don't care who you are, what's on the other team. Me personally, I feel like when you have a 2-touchdown lead, you shouldn't be. No, let me not say that, because depending on the time of the game, whatever the case may be, things might whatever. But I don't know, up 17 with Josh Allen and the defense that you have. But then again, obviously, Josh Allen turned the ball over, and Josh Allen literally, we're up 17-0. Let me make this game close. Let me make it competitive. Let me give the Dolphins a way into this game. Let me start throwing this bitch. Let me just start being reckless and careless with the football. I love Josh Allen. Josh Allen is a nigga, but he can't. And this is a trend. This is a trend. Josh Allen's been probably one of the most turnover-prone quarterbacks in the second half of the season, and majority of the games they have been able to overcome that. But that's not going to work in the playoffs. They're playing against better teams that have better quarterbacks, that have better offenses, that have better defenses. Like the margin of error is so slim in the playoffs. And the Bills themselves, know for a fact how slim the margin of error is in the playoffs. The Bills know. Ask them about what happened last year. And it just seems like, okay, the best games that the Bills play, I personally feel like, is when they're balanced. They're balanced. They're not relying too much on Josh Allen, because since I've been doing this podcast, which is March of 2020, right? So I've been doing this podcast for almost 3 years now. One of the main things I've always been harping on is the fact that I feel like the Bills are just too reliant on Josh Allen. If it's not his arm, it's his legs. And it's like, bro, why do you have running backs? Why do you have running backs if they're not going to be able to impact the game in that manner? And like, Josh Allen shouldn't always be the leading rusher. Like it shouldn't. I don't. I still really just like wonder, why is Josh Allen? All right, let me pull up the box score real quick. And I just really wonder, like, when are the Buffalo Bills gonna actually have, like, bro? Okay, Devin Singletary is their leading rusher, right? Devin Singletary had 10 carries for 48 yards. There's running backs that get 48 yards in one quarter. I don't understand. Like, it's like, bro, the Bills need to grind and use James Cook and Devin Singletary way more. Like, if the Bills, we already know what Josh Allen can do with his arm. If the Bills present a balanced offense towards defenses, it wouldn't even be fair. It wouldn't even be fair. They shouldn't be so reliant on Josh Allen. It seems like that's all that always seems to be the case. But overall, the Bills did enough to win. They did enough to win because they got contributions from obviously Stephon Diggs, Gabe Davis, Khalil Shakur, Cole Beasley, Dawson Knox. You know what I mean? Like, Josh Allen has weapons. And his only problem, and it was always been his problem, is turnovers, especially in the second half of the season. Let me talk about the Dolphins really quick. So, the Dolphins should hang their head high, because I know majority of the people in that locker room, the front office, just the Dolphins organization, probably feel like, you know what? If we had Tua, we would have probably won this game. Skylar Thompson, even though his completion percentage was fucking horrible, I thought he played a decent game. Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. He played a good enough game to where he in the fourth quarter, they had the ball and the chance to win. I don't think many people would have expected that, or would have even took that money line or whatever the case, or that over under, that, with their third string quarterback, they would still be in striking distance of a win in a playoff game in Orchard Park. I don't think many people would have taken that. So I want to give credit to him. He started off really shaky, but then, as the game continued to, wane on, he got into the flow and the rhythm of it. He did turn the ball over 2 times, but threw a touchdown pass, 220. And, he was able to spread the ball out, but thanks to the defense giving them, extra possessions, they were able to tie the game up, also take the lead, and, stay consistent and stay ahead of schedule, because honestly, they played way better than what I anticipated. It was a good game, nevertheless. It shouldn't have been a good game, which is cause for concern if I'm a Bills fan, if I'm just being honest, because I feel like the Bills, and they're gonna say, this is the divisional game and blah blah blah. Like, no, a third string quarterback is a third string quarterback, and the Bills have one of the best defenses in the league. I don't know, but then again, at the same time, when your quarterback turns the ball over, you're putting your defense in a bad position. Kind of what we seen on Saturday with Trevor Lawrence. He put the defense in bad position. Every time the Chargers got the ball, they were deep in our territory. So it's like, even if we do make the stop, they're still getting 3 points. And then in the event that we don't actually stop them, they're scoring touchdowns and building on the lead. So overall, good game, and that's one of the biggest things that I'm a big advocate for, is a good game. Yeah, I feel like, if I was this fan or whatever the case may be, I'd be disappointed. But as a neutralist, I just want to see good games. I just want to see good football, because at the end of the day, I do love playoff football. But then at the same time, playoff football means and is signalizing that the season is coming to an end. So the next game I want to get into is the Vikings. The Vikings lost 31-24 to the New York. Okay, let me rephrase that. The New York Football motherfucking Giants. Shout out to my brother. It's funny too, because my brother yesterday it's me and my 2 younger brothers. We have a group chat that we don't really use too often. My brother pointed out the fact that, isn't it crazy that all of our teams made the playoffs this year? And it's very crazy. It's probably not for Steven, because Steven's team is the Eagles, and the Eagles are probably the best team, over the past 10 years out of all our teams. But I like the Jaguars, as you can see on the wall. You got Fred Taylor, you got Josh Scobie, you got Mercedes Lewis. My middle brother Emmanuel likes the Giants. He's been a Giants fan since I can remember. He's actually been a Giants fan since they won their first Super Bowl with Eli Manning in 2008. And my youngest brother likes the Eagles. Surprisingly, all of these teams made the playoffs, and my team actually got a win. Emmanuel's team actually got a win, which actually doesn't surprise me because I have been harping all year. I've been harping all year how fraudulent that I think the Minnesota Vikings are. I've been saying it all year. I think this team is so fucking fraudulent. And the reason why I think this team is fraudulent is sort of why USC was fraudulent. Their defense is fucking horrible. 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 And as I was watching the game early on, I just kind of got the sense that the Giants would pull away because the Vikings defense was just atrocious. They had no answer for anything. They had no answer for anything. Like, anything at all. Bro, yesterday, the Vikings defense made Daniel Jones look like a prime Cam Newton. Daniel Jones was by far the best player on the field yesterday. By far. And that's thanks to the Vikings defense. The Vikings, but let me put things into context. Because, obviously, Kirk Cousins is going to get a lot of hate and a lot of whatever the case may be. But I just checked the box score. Kirk Cousins only threw, 8 incompletions the whole game? Kirk Cousins yesterday was 31 of 39, 273, and 2 touchdowns. He played well enough to win. Kirk Cousins played well enough to win. So, and despite the fact that, with the season on the line on 4th and 8 or whatever the case may be, he throws to a fucking tight end running a drag, doesn't even throw beyond the sticks. But besides that, that's far from the point. The Vikings offense only punted 3 times. Not 1, not 2, only 3 times. They only punted 3 times in an NFL playoff game. They only punted 3 times in an NFL playoff game. They played well enough to win. But, the defense got shredded. The defense got shredded. Every quarterback this year has had their best game against the fucking Vikings because the Vikings defense couldn't cover my mom. Or fucking Vikings defense probably can't cover a college team. I don't know. It was just bad. It was very, very, very bad. Very, very bad display from the Vikings, especially considering they were playing against Daniel Jones. And, I credit the Vikings offense for being able to stay on schedule because, Justin Jefferson didn't have a big game. Justin Jefferson was doubled. Justin Jefferson had like 4 catches the first drive and then finished with 8 for the whole game. And he did. Justin Jefferson, oh my God. Let me tell you something about Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson only had 1 catch in the second half and had 0 targets the whole 4th quarter. Justin Jefferson, who had 1,800 receiving yards this season, only had 1 target in the 4th quarter and 1 catch in the second half. That's just not a rest. And then when I look at that and I think about these things, I just don't understand why Kirk Cousins didn't. Kirk Cousins is labeled as Kirk Cousins is one of those guys where, in a lot of people say, Kirk Cousins doesn't like to throw 50-50 balls. And he only throws to guys that he knows are wide open or perceived as open. And my thing with that is, man, when you have somebody like Justin Jefferson, man, you with your season on the line, you have to force feed him the ball. You have to. The Bills game where they won at Orchard Park, where Justin Jefferson goes up on 4th and 18 and snags the ball with 1 fucking hand for a first down. Bro, there's not a lot of receivers that can do what he does. There's not a lot of receivers. Not a lot. Devontae Adams, Stephon Diggs, DeAndre Hopkins, Jamar Chase, that's probably it, honestly. Those are like the top 5 guys I feel in the league right now this season, based on this season or whatever the case may be. So they needed to force feed him the ball. They needed to make adjustments. I don't know, flex him or flex him through the offense. Put him in the slot. Put him in the wide. Move him around. Like, I don't know what else. Like, he has to, bro. He has to be involved in the game. Like, the fact that I don't know, man. It's really disappointing. But at the end of the day, the Vikings defense was just so fucking suspect. and so fucking careless and the Vikings defense. I don't want anyone blaming this game. Kirk Cousins is who he is, man. Kirk Cousins is who he is. He is always who he's been. Kirk Cousins isn't the reason they lost, man. This defense is terrible. This defense has been terrible all season. They need to address that shit in the offseason. They've been fucking garbage all season. All season. All season long, they've been terrible. Let me talk about Daniel Jones real quick. Daniel Jones. Because for such a long time, I've always felt Daniel Jones was fucking terrible. And it's funny because the Giants owner, I don't even know his name, but in the offseason when they fired Joe Judge, he said that we have failed Daniel Jones. We have failed to get him a responsible head coach. We have failed to surround him with talent. We have failed to do a lot of things to help him become the quarterback that we think he can become. And this year, he flipped the script on all that. Man, I remember Daniel Jones. It was like a Monday. It was a primetime game. I'm not sure if it was Monday or Thursday. This dude is running. What? Has broken past the barrier of defense and is running straight to the end zone. This dude gets hit with the turf monster, stumbles, falls down, and gets caught, and the play gets down. They end up not scoring a touchdown on that drive and end up losing that game. I can't remember if it was. I think it was a divisional game, if I'm not mistaken. So I've always thought that Daniel Jones was ass. I've always thought that Daniel Jones was a bust. I've always thought that why was Daniel Jones drafted so high? He was taken 6 overall out of, if I'm not mistaken, he went to Duke. And I was just like, bro, this dude does not look like a competent NFL quarterback. His stats aren't impressive. He turns the ball over way too much. But, I mean, Daniel Jones, now, this is where okay. The only two coaches that should, the coach of the year should come down to Brian Daboll or Doug Peterson, one or two. And both of them will be playing in the divisional round of the playoffs this year. And the argument for Brian Daboll is he took the Giants, who their last playoff win was Super Bowl 46 against the Patriots. It took them 11 years to win another playoff game. That was their last playoff win. And he's taken them to the divisional round of the playoffs with what some people say is an inadequate quarterback and has just elevated everything in the organization. They have a very good chance of winning the game next weekend. And the argument for Doug Peterson is the Jacksonville Jaguars have been terrible for such a long time. Outside of 2017, the people are calling Trevor Lawrence a bust, whatever the case may be. The Jaguars were drafted number 1 overall last year in the draft, all these different things. So it boils down to be either of them. But Brian Daboll deserves his flowers. He deserves a round of applause. He has literally transformed the culture of the New York Giants. And Daniel Jones was amazing yesterday, honestly. And I personally like I said, I've never been a fan of him, but and a lot of people didn't believe in him. The Giants didn't even believe in him. They didn't pick up his fifth. They decided not to pick up his 5th-year option. And Daniel Jones in yesterday's game led them every way. He threw for over 300 yards. He rushed for over 70. He was a Giants leading rusher. He threw he was responsible for 2 touchdowns. And he just was incredible. The Giants defense was incredible. Saquon Barkley, even though he only received nine carries, he had over 100 scrimmage yards. He was incredible. The Giants played a hell of a game, man. Honestly, I'm not surprised because I've thought that. But what the Vikings did in the regular season has never been done in NFL history, like ever. They won 11 games that boiled down to 1 possession. Teams typically in like the statistics and the stats and all that shit shows that most teams typically go 500 in those games. The fact that they were able to win every single one of them, don't expect that from them next year. And also, their defense was just so suspect that I wasn't able to. I didn't believe any. No. Okay, now the last game of the wild card week, Super Wild Card Sunday, was a divisional game with the Ravens and the Bengals, which the Bengals won. They prevailed 24-17. And let me start off. I want to talk more about the Ravens than the Cincinnati Bengals because the Baltimore Ravens thoroughly outplayed the Bengals. They outgained the Bengals 364 to 234. That's over 130 more yards. They outpassed them 209 to 183, outrushed them by 100 fucking yards, 155 to 51. That's 104 yards. The Baltimore's defense was Kyle Hamilton came up and smacked the fuck out of the tight end, causing a turnover. But the miscues from Tyler Huntley cost them tremendously, man. You can't. Tyler Huntley threw an early interception. I know he was a little shaky in the beginning, but the fumble at the goal line, man, that's just unacceptable. That is just unacceptable. Like, you can't turn the ball over in the playoffs. You especially can't turn the ball over in the red zone. And you especially can't turn the ball over at the 1 yard line, my nigga. What the fuck? Bro, what? No, that's not it. That is not it. That is not it whatsoever. And as I sit here and think about it, I'm like, man, that play right there literally cost them the game. You're at the 1 yard line. First of all, Tyler, you are 6'2", not 6'6". I don't know what exactly you were trying to do, but your teammates weren't on the same page because you tried to leap over the defense and extend the ball, but fumbled. First of all, he wasn't even close. Like, my nigga, you are not Trevor Lawrence. You are not Justin Herbert. You are not Josh Allen. You are not fucking 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". Like, come on, bro. And then Sam Herbert takes that ball and runs it back in the opposite direction for a touchdown. That's a 14-point swing. You're gonna go up. You're about to go up 7, and now you're down 7. But let me say this about the Cincinnati Bengals. I was not impressed at all. I wasn't impressed by the Bengals or the Bills. Not at all. You would think that in a game where you don't have to play against Lamar Jackson, that I don't know, they would take more advantage, or they would. I don't know, but I wasn't impressed. Like I said, the passing offense only had 183 yards. The rushing offense, they only were able to muster up 234 yards of offense. That's terrible. What? That's not good. And on top of that, they keep sustaining injuries on the offensive line. Yesterday, Jonah Williams get hurt. Add that up. That's Alex Kappa, Lyle Collins, and Jonah Williams. That's gonna affect the Bengals offense the way they're going to be able to execute moving forward and just for the rest of the season, honestly. And I don't know. I just wasn't really impressed. Like, hopefully they can bounce back, but we all know what has been the Achilles heel of the Bengals since Joe Burrow came into the league, the offensive line. And they've just saying more than 60% of their offensive line is injured now. And now they're playing with a makeshift line. But the conclusion of Super Wildcard weekend is later today, Monday Night Football. The Tampa Bay Buccaneers will play the Dallas Cowboys. With that being said, that wraps up episode 114 of Pull Up the Tape. My name is Michael DeLu. Thank you so much for everybody that continues to support me, continues to tap in and show love and support and like my videos. I promise I have so much more coming for Pull Up the Tape. I'm really gonna take this brand and this channel to the next level. Long live my brother, long live Kobe, long live Gigi, long live Pop Smoke, long live Takeoff, Mama, long live Nip, long live Mac Miller, free Chef G, free Pooh Shiesty, free YSL. With that being said, I'm out this bitch. Y'all stay blessed, all right? Continue to tap in.